Here comes the long Twitch message.
Yep, there it is. What?
What happened? What?
Hit the wrong
Stream down for everyone else.
I just hit the wrong key. It's coming back. All right. I fat fingered it. I didn't mean to. They should all see me again. Does everyone see me again? You should by now. Now they're saying no, even though they're answering me. Liars. All right.
Yes.
All right. We're good. We're going.
They're saying not yet, but
yeah, but how could they say that if they're not hearing me? Do you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't ask in the chat. I asked out loud.
You didn't ask in chat? Oh, that's funny. Okay.
What a bunch of butts. I know you
that's
see this.
Hilarious. I thought you typed it in chat and I'm saying nope. Oh, it hasn't come up yet. It'll come up. That's really funny.
These
oh, well, okay. They're right. You did ask if they could see you.
Uh-huh.
But you don't have us up on screen. You have the TMS.
Gosh, I can't imagine how they would be so confused by that. Like I never start the show with the logo first. Weird.
Well, you weren't clear. You weren't exact, Scott. You weren't,
Yeah. It's like me saying, I'm going to go out back, and people think I meant Australia. Uh-huh. Sure. All right, here we go. This is it for real now. Okay. This is no longer just a test. This is the real thing.
Ew, okay.
Yeah. Ooh is right. All right, here it is in 3, 2, 1.
Who are you? Why did you help me?
I thought it was somebody else.
I can trust you.
For what?
To get me back to Atlanta. There's a group of doctors there, the last ones. They've been working on a cure for the plague.
Makes you proud of your bathroom.
Do the bees know they make honey for you? This is the morning stream.
Whoops. What the hell? This isn't working right. There we go. Still getting used to this thing. Just throwing me off.
It'll happen. You'll get used to it.
Happen. At some point it will happen. You're right. I have faith. I believe that we can work through any problem if we put our mind to it.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Hey, everybody. It's good to be here. Thank you for being a part of today's program, which is Thursday's program. It is October 24th, 1999. Just kidding. It's 2019. And what's happening this week? It's almost Halloween, Brian. We're a week away from the great Halloween.
Earth week away. 1 week from today, you and I will be joined by Gidget to do some Halloween trivia.
Oh, and Amy Frost, I forgot to mention.
Actually, my Exorcist theme almost turned into Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, it wasn't. I can't do that part. Also, that day, Amy Frost will join us. She's got a new project, and I told her she should come on the show and announce it, and so we'll get that early on Thursday as well.
Excellent.
Yeah, big day for the community there. It's good to be here, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We got stuff to talk about, things to do. Starting a little late, too, but that's okay. It's Thursday. Had a rough morning. Everything didn't go right. Nothing went the way it was supposed to. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Just for a while here, Discord would not open no matter what. There was some kind of outage. It turned out to be very temporary and fixed itself right on time, right before I called you. So that was a thing. That worked out okay. And then just trying to get everybody situated this morning. The dogs were being a pain in my A. Just everything's just a little jacked up. And then today is a weird day because right after this, I'm doing Current Geek with Tom. And then right after that, I got a whole bunch of stuff I got to finish up because right after that, I got to go to the university and teach a thing tonight. And then I got to rush home from that and then host Core because we couldn't do it last night because I freaking threw my back out. So that's the other fun thing. Let's talk about my back for a minute. Hey, everybody.
Okay.
Check this out. My back is garbage. I can barely move.
Oh, no. Did you overextend it or something with the two-a-days, the treadmilling and whatnot?
Probably that, and I also cleaned a bunch of stuff out of the office. I think I lifted a box. It was maybe a little little too heavy. Didn't use my knees.
Did you
know?
lift with your back and not with your legs, Scott?
Probably
You're
a
supposed to
little.
lift with your legs, Scott.
Yeah. I mean, now that you say it, that's probably a huge part of it. So,
Oh,
yeah.
Scott.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's real good stuff. Anyway, I'm sort of in recovery mode on that, but then I can't slow down. I got a billion things to do. So,
Yeah.
this is just the way it is. So I'm a little grumpy today. If I end up with a short fuse on any of our topics today, I apologize in advance. It's just, sometimes your back gives you heat. About twice a year I get a back thing, and I've had that since I was like 15. And every 6 months, my back just says, you know what? We're taking one out.
You're done for the day, dude.
Yep. And I got checked for that many times, and the doctor just says, "No, you don't have like a weird disc or anything. You just have, a tendency to throw that muscle, and it's all I can feel right where it is, dude. Just like a big knotted up freaking ball of shit." Oh, sorry, Nicole and Mateo in the car. Sorry, it's war again.
No. Yeah. Here, I'll throw a pseudo coin.
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Pseudo coin thrown.
So we're gonna we're gonna start today's program with a couple of emails because I like doing those. So we're gonna do those. Trying to catch up on all the correspondence we get here on the show. And I'm going to start with this one, Brian, about Australian meat pies. Okay?
Okay. Ooh, I love me an Aussie meat pie.
Yep. Stuart. It reminds me of that Mad TV
Is
sketch.
it named Hemsworth?
No, Stuart Hemsworth.
Is that the name of the Aussie meat pie that we're going to be talking about?
Or Stuart Hemsworth, the ugly brother. It says, "Hi, Sergeant and Balfour." That's an Aussie meat pie manufacturer reference. So we just have to take him at his word there because I don't actually know.
Sure.
It says, Australia pie culture comes from our English roots. They tended more towards savory pies, he says, often as a way to make to take meals to work. I have no idea where the U.S. thing for sweet pies came from. Our sweet pies tend to be hot fruit pies with pastry lid and base. Well, we do that too.
Yeah.
Not always, but,
No, but I mean, an apple pie or a peach pie or cherry pie is going to be a hot fruit pie with a pastry lid and base.
You can eat those without them being hot, but they're better hot, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, pecan pies don't have a lid.
Right.
A
lid.
I don't see Paul Hollywood saying, I'm going to dock you some points because your mince pie doesn't have a lid.
It's not a proper lid. It's a bad lid.
No lid on your mince pie.
Your bread lid. But yeah, I don't know where it comes from either. We could probably find out, but maybe it's German or something because a lot of
what?
Yeah.
Wherever it came from, I thank wherever it came from for the U.S.'s thing for sweet pies.
Oh yeah,
because
no problem with sweet pies.
Yeah,
they're the best.
Kidding me? Yeah, no complaints about pies. I know we have also got the coconut cream pie, and that doesn't have a lid, or a pumpkin pie doesn't have a lid. Brian, where's your lid, Brian?
Where's your lid?
How come your pie doesn't have a lid?
Yeah, lidless pies. It's a thing. Stuart's from Melbourne, by the way, if I didn't put that out there. Thank you for your email from so far away.
I don't know where your American thing for sweet pies with no lids comes from. Where do you Yanks get off with your lidless pies, your sweet pies?
When you go there next, they're just going to dogpile you or something. They're just going to, everyone in the room.
When I go to Australia next, yes.
Yeah, they're just going to say,
he's here, boys!
He's here. Bruce, get him. Bruce, you too, Bruce.
You too, Sheila. How about you, Sheila?
Sheila and Bruce.
Sheila,
all the
why don't you guys
Sheilas
join us?
Get a Hemsworth. Let's go.
There's no Bruce Hemsworth. I want to recount.
I don't know. What's his deal? Yeah. By the way, speaking of the Hemsworths, don't we have a new season of Westworld coming, don't we? With the
of course we
Hemsworth?
do, yeah.
Is he alive still? I don't remember his deal. Is that a spoiler to ask? I don't even know.
I don't remember either. I mean, he rarely ventured out of that room with the
he didn't.
With the map.
Yeah, he wasn't into the big 3D floor map thing.
Yeah.
All right, I'm looking here.
That was his office.
How tall are the Hemsworth brothers? I don't care about that. Okay, here we go. I found an article that says 24 facts you never knew about the Hemsworths. You ready for this?
Oh, yes. All right.
First of all, it says there's a third Hemsworth
They're
brother.
filled with meat pies.
They're filled with hot fruit and no
stem to stern, filled with meat pies.
Yeah, that's how they get so big and buff.
Yeah.
There's a third Hemsworth. It says I thought we found a fourth. Isn't there a fourth?
No, there was Kenan Thompson pretending to be the fourth Hemsworth
Oh,
brother.
that's
That
what it was. Okay,
that was all it was.
It was a joke. Anyway, so the picture of them standing together, by the way, Luke is by far the biggest of them, and that seems crazy because I thought Chris was the big dude.
Yeah. Okay. You mean tall or just bulky,
Taller
or
and
what do you mean?
taller and a little wider than his brother.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, Luke Hemsworth is the one from the show we're talking about, age 32. Well, this was as of the 2014, so he's actually, what is he now, 38? Whatever it is.
37.
37. He's the eldest of the brothers, followed by Chris at 30, or now would be 30, whatever. And Liam, who's the baby, but he's also the biggest baby. And he's the one that came in like a wrecking ball, right? He was dating Miley Cyrus.
That's right, yes.
Okay. Here's some more facts. Despite being the least recognizable Hemsworth brother, Luke was actually the first to get into acting. Huh. Okay. Didn't know that.
The photo I'm looking at shows him as shorter than Chris and Liam.
Oh, he is. I was talking about Liam.
Okay. Okay. I thought you were talking about Luke. I'm sorry.
No. Liam's the tall guy. He's the...
Yes.
Yeah, right. Luke's a little teeny dude. He said he soon became disillusioned with the industry and started a flooring business, which his younger brothers worked for before their acting careers took off. So everybody in the Hemsworth family was doing floors. So that's pretty cool.
That is funny.
Chris moved to the USA to pursue his acting career, and Liam followed a few years later. Luke, meanwhile, never fully gave up on acting, and after a string of guest roles on TV, he starred in The Reckoning in 2014. Let's see. The boys were all born in Melbourne, Victoria, but the Hemsworth family also lived in the outback in the Northern Territory for a while, settling on Phillip Island in Victoria. That's why they're so rugged, you see.
Yeah, right.
Let's see.
It's the upbringing, the flooring first, and then the...
Here's a good one. I love this. When they were kids, Luke and Chris would wrap their little brother Liam in a protective layer of clothing, and then make him walk around the backyard while they shot him with air rifles. Yeah!
A protective layer of clothing. Aren't we all just wearing a protective layer of clothing?
I freaking love it. Let's see. Liam got his own back at Chris. When he was 8, he threw a knife at Chris's head. Their fighting was so bad that Chris had to stay with separate relatives while Luke and Liam stayed at their grandparents' house when their parents went on holidays. They had to separate the two.
Damn.
Yeah. Let's see. Here's one more of these fun little facts. Oh, that's stupid.
Their dad is a social services counselor, too. And their mom is an English teacher.
Nice. I always like that. Nice, humble Australian outback folk.
Right, exactly, yes.
Yeah. Here's one. It says there's a friendly competition between the brothers in most things they do, except when it comes to roles in acting. They try to support each other in their careers as much as possible.
I'm going to play Thor. No, I'm going to play Thor. You guys can both play Thor.
Oh, hey, you're not wrong. Liam and Chris were both up for the role, but Liam didn't get it. And Chris got it.
Luke did get to play Thor for a minute.
Oh.
1 hot minute.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. It's not really...
One crazy 10 seconds of Luke playing Thor.
Yeah, go see Ragnarok, you guys. You'll learn that on your own. It's good how that worked out.
Yeah. Well, if you haven't seen it, come on, it's not a spoiler at this point.
Let's see. Chris didn't originally get called back for his audition while Liam made it to the final 4. In the end, though, Chris snagged the role, it says.
Wow.
All right, here's a fun one. When Chris's first baby, India Rose, was born... I didn't know Chris Hemsworth had a baby. Did you know that?
I didn't know either.
All right. Luke, who has 4 kids, made a video teaching him how to bundle the baby up properly. All right.
That video needs to surface.
Yeah, that's freaking fantastic. And
you bundle a baby. Baby.
Here's a final note that I enjoy the most, probably.
Yeah.
Liam and the oldest, Luke, both got naked for a raunchy show called Satisfaction. So they were nude.
Not the one with who was it? Wasn't it Justine Bateman and Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh, right. What was that called?
I thought that was Satisfaction.
Was it?
Yeah.
I think you're right. That's the thing with movies with the same titles. It kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Then finally, did you know that Chris Hemsworth was on Dancing with the Stars in 2006?
No, really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that either. That's funny.
He didn't really need to do that. He probably could have just done other things. That seems bad. All right, anyway. Yeah. There's some fun Hemsworth info for you as we now drift away from Australia and back over to here in America with this email.
He was married to Elsa Pataki.
Ah, Pataki.
From the Fast and Furious franchise. She plays Elena Neves. Elsa Pataki. E-L-S-A-P-T-A-K-Y. Uh-huh.
Oh, she's lovely.
She is.
That's Chris Hemsworth's lady?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I know her. She's in something
pretty
else.
Much, it's like prom king and queen right there. I mean, they,
she's beautiful.
if they don't put out, just spit out a whole litter of model babies, then something's wrong with the universe.
Yeah, what are they even doing?
Something's wrong with genetics.
Oh, yeah, she's really cute. Mm-hmm. Wow. All right. Well done, 1976. You made a very lovely lady. All right. Here is another email from Paul Talbot.
Sure.
This is about spoilers. He says, "Hey guys."
Okay.
Yeah. He says, "Hey guys, that's me and you." It says here, "I've been listening for years, but finally need to email you with your spoiler discussion on recommendals. The way I see it, this always comes up, so why not talk about it again?"
Sure.
He says, "There's two ways you can watch a movie, spoiled or unspoiled. The first time you see a movie normally is unspoiled. After, it's spoiled. The second viewing can be rewarding, but you will never get the unspoiled experience again. Empire of the Sixth Sense." What? Oh, I read that as of. Empire or The Sixth Sense is always a great movie, but you will never get the feeling of shock when you heard the twist for the first time. Empire.
There's a twist in
Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back?
Yeah, there's, not
there are
that.
two ways I watch a movie, by the way, Paul Talbot, soiled and unsoiled.
Yeah, soiled and unsoiled.
Right now, I'm soiled.
Are you anti-soiling? You don't want to soil a movie? How do you feel about soiling?
Oh, no. Some movies I'd much rather watch it soiled.
Yeah. I think there's studies that say we enjoy movies more when we're soiled. I've heard that.
I think so, yes. All right, go ahead, continue.
He says, the way I see it, he says, this is why it's a problem to spoil movies. If you spoil something, you remove the option for the first experience from someone else. They will never be able to experience the surprise at what's been revealed.
I love you, Paul. Thank you for explaining
how a spoiler works.
How a spoiler works.
I know. I feel like it's going to be more rudimentary, but it's fine. It's fine.
Yes.
He says they'll never be able to experience it again. It's fine if you want that, but if someone else spoils it for you, they've taken away a unique experience. Do you feel like I'm being kind of what's the word, scolded here a little bit?
Agent Ford, let me explain a spoiler to you.
I kind of am going to be sad when you're done with that show because
if I were to tell you
why I have a woman's head in this bag.
In a duffel bag. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That guy's the worst.
Paul is right now drafting a very angry email at me, which is fine. I deserve it, Paul.
Well, whatever turns all of our collective cranks. Okay, it goes on to say, I mention this because with Her, the movie Her, which came out a few years ago, surely the point of the recommendal section is to introduce people to films they haven't seen yet. Maybe films they haven't even heard of before. If you spoil straight after the introducing the movie, you automatically rob somebody of the experience before they get a chance to see it. The polite thing to do is to give another spoiler warning and blah, 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 blah. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to shock everybody, including Paul, with my following statement. I believe he is correct. And here's why. Because normally spoilers, especially minor ones, I think people overreact to stuff that's old. However, in the context of recommendals, after giving it some thought, he's totally right. The whole point of recommendals is we found a thing you may or may not have seen. And here's what I'm going to say about it and why I recommend it, and you should go check it out for yourself. And it shouldn't have spoilers in it because the point is not to tell everything about it. You're supposed to say, hey, a thing you should go watch it for yourself. So I think he's right in this particular case.
Oh, yeah. No, he's totally right.
Now, if it's friends sitting around talking about
Right.
Breaking
If
Bad 8 years
Well,
later.
if we're bringing it up in context of like the opening of a show, like talking about The Sixth Sense or or Empire Strikes Back, things like that.
Right.
Saying, oh yeah, it's like when we found out Luke was, Darth Vader's son. Oh, spoiler alert. No, it doesn't matter. We're just chit-chatting about that. But when we're saying, by the way, there's a movie, if you haven't seen it, you really need to check out blah, blah, blah. Wait till you find out that the killer is really the office manager.
Right. So I 100% agree with him in this case, and I take everything back I said the other day about her. Forget the ending that I spoiled. And honestly, I didn't really spoil it because it was so vague anyway. Like, I'm not even
I'll be
sure
honest, I kind of forgot about the ending. I remember everything else about the movie, but that ending wasn't so crucial to me. So
right, and now that and when I said it the other day, like, do you even remember the ending that well now? Like right this second? Do you remember the ending of her?
No.
See?
I remember 2/3 of the movie her, and it's just basically the interaction between Joaquin and the AI, the phone AI. That's it.
The part I remember the most is it's because I went with a couple of my kids, and there's that scene where they're basically having cyber duty, with each other, or she's going, oh, freaking Joaquin, and he's going, oh, this doesn't look like a party, and then they just kind of did their whole thing there. That made me very uncomfortable because my kids were there, and so that's my whole memory of that movie. The rest of it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Cuzray in the chat room asks a great question. What movie do you wish you could forget so you could enjoy watching it again?
Oh, I don't know.
Two that came to mind immediately for me are Memento and Fight Club.
Yeah, I think those are good calls. I mean, Sixth Sense is actually a pretty good call. Trying to think of another one where I feel that way. So many movies that I enjoy frequent viewings of, I wouldn't want to not have seen all the Star Wars stuff. I don't have a feeling that I wish I could start over. Right. I enjoy it just on its own. Mad Max Fury Road, same thing. I don't need to see that again. There's no big. If we're just talking about stuff that had a giant twist in it,
which is really it. I mean,
right.
Usual Suspects. That's another good one.
Can't think of another one. No, From Dusk Till Dawn, really? That's not a spoil. That's not a twist. That's a freaking lane change, is what that is. That's different. Because there's no we thought the whole time the thing was this, but it was really that. It's not that. It's we're this kind of movie, and suddenly we're not. It's not the same. Yeah. I don't think that counts. Boondock Saints, maybe. I don't know. Oh, yeah, you know what? Spider-Man Homecoming was... That would be a fun one, because Michael Keaton had me convinced he was not who I thought he was for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, they had it in the trailer.
Yeah, I guess they did, and we knew he was cast as the Vulture.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I still think his performance transcended all of that. It was really good.
I mean, we just... the shock was who he was outside of his Vulture life that gets the reveal.
Yeah.
But they give that away. They gave it away in the trailer. It was a real bummer.
Yeah, it was. You're right. But he's so good in it. It didn't really hurt me. It was okay. Someone says Death Note. I've never seen Death Note, the anime or the movie version thing that they made. So I don't know anything about Death Note. Yeah. So I don't know. So I guess what I'm saying is, spoiler wise, yes, probably a recommendal should not be a place for that. But if we're going to talk about another thing that's years old and we just want to have an open discussion on the show, we may say, all right, well, if you haven't seen, the third National Treasure movie, we're about to talk about it or whatever. Nicolas Cage gets the Constitution or whatever he does.
Right. No, that's exactly. If we're recommending something that maybe is a little off the radar, we probably are not going to recommend Avengers Endgame. I mean, when it comes out on streaming, we're going to say, oh yeah, make sure you watch that, but we're not going to use it as a recommendal that we're assuming nobody's seen and say, now if you haven't heard of this, you may want to see Infinity War first, but then you want to watch Endgame and watch for the ending when
right, the ending of Endgame where the burr happens. Hey, also somebody mentioned Serenity and a few other movies, and I just got to thinking this would be cool. Technology gets to a point where we can take a custom designed pill that is specifically designed to go in and remove all memories. Let's say, for me, Mad Max Fury Road, every time I want to watch it. So it comes into my head, it goes bleep, and just deletes only the experience.
Just that memory.
Only that memory, so that I get to see it fresh every time I watch it. That I could probably do. I could probably be into that tech. That'd be all right, I think. But then also, I get more out of it, different viewings, and I have a different kind of take different times. Like, why?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would do. I mean, I think I'd probably do that for a very there's not a big twist ending at the end of Mad Max Fury Road that'd be like, oh my gosh, wow, Mad Max is really a baby dressed in a Mad Max costume. But
I like your idea, but no, it's not.
Yeah, yeah. Is that a good place to go with the sequel?
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know if I would do that. God, this seems like there would be so much that could go wrong with that.
Well, that's the other.
Right?
That's the other
the
thing.
film that
yeah.
just is, yeah.
It's a tech that I wouldn't trust to start with, but
Right.
assuming we had it, there's probably a movie about this for all I know. Like take a pill, make you forget a thing. It's not the same as a roofie though. A roofie makes it so you don't remember what you watched while you're watching it. I'm talking about one that you take before.
This would be like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, just with a very targeted little brain attack with Ruffalo coming over with not Lucas Haas. It was Frodo. It was
I can't think of his name.
Elijah Wood. It'd be like Mark Ruffalo coming over with Elijah Wood just to say, all right, well, let's sit here and eat his chips and wipe his memory of watching Mad Max Fury Road. And well, you pine over Kate Winslet and jump on the bed.
Somebody here said, let's see, who was it? Essential Tremor says, is there ever really a reason to not at least give a spoiler warning if you're specifically going to spoil the end of a movie? I don't know. Like this, the Vader one. Who bothers to giving a warning for that? Like, who's ever going to say, "Oh, now spoiler warning," just in case you haven't seen Empire Strikes Back, Vader's Luke's dad. No one gives a spoiler warning for that, right? Yeah. So I think it depends on the movie.
That's an example of like if you probably do not care about Star Wars if you're worried that we're going to spoil Star Wars. From 1980, Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
So that one I feel like we're okay. But yeah, I mean, if I were to say, something from a movie 5 years ago, I probably would say, spoiler. And I know you've probably seen it, but just in case, spoiler alert. There's probably like the 2 weeks thing, right? The Vince Gilligan 2 weeks thing is for brand new stuff, right? You've got something new comes out, boom, the 2 week timer goes. And then you can't even talk about it. Not even if you say spoiler alert first, you just can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Once you've passed that time frame, there's probably like another one that as long as you say spoiler alert beforehand, you're okay. But that's probably like 2 years. 2 years is enough time for somebody to say, oh, I really wanted to get around to watching that thing when it was in, as soon as it came out on streaming. I didn't see it in theaters, but I want to see it as soon as it's on streaming.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
exactly.
2 years is enough time for anything to come out on streaming.
Right.
And then you go, spoiler alert, by the way,
Yeah, I feel like that would be a good barometer. We generally
2 weeks and then 2 years.
Yeah, 2 weeks, 2 years, 2 decades.
2 weeks.
And by the way, there's really nothing to spoil about his latest thing. It's just kind of good and you should watch it. There's no spoilers, really.
Oh, El Camino?
Yeah. Not really. I mean, it's just sort of, I guess the only spoiler is maybe you could say it's a spoiler about how it goes for everybody in the very end, I guess. But that's not really I mean, I wouldn't give that away anyway. I think people should just go watch it. But I wonder what Vince would say. Because his episodes were all spoilery, every week, man. It was like, oh my gosh, did you see what Walter White did this time?
Right. I mean, it might be more of a spoiler to say who's in it, like what characters we see in it.
Yeah.
Because that was the greatest joy of that thing, is like, oh my God, so and so, look at that, or this guy or that guy. Is it a form of spoiler what you just did or not? Like you just saying no, because I wasn't specific. Okay. And even in the trailer you see one of those characters that I think people, if they knew nothing, then they'd be surprised.
All right. Well, we've walked away from this with more than we came to it with. We've learned something. Paul Talbot, thank you for the email. You sponsored.
Yeah, thank you.
You sponsored. You spawned a lot of conversation. I don't have my real boy words today. They're not coming out right. Anyways, hey Brian, let's do the news.
Let's do it.
Whoops.
Sound to me you've been reading a lot of newspapers printed in Washington, D.C.
News today is brought to you by
Current Geek. Current Geek. It's out on the feed today. It's all about Dark Knight. Get it at currentgeek.com.
Yeah, speaking of movies, watched that last night while my back was convalescing on the couch.
Yeah.
And let me just say this about Dark
holds up,
Knight.
right?
Dark Knight is amazing. It's a great movie. It's on the 200 greatest movies of all time, according to this list Tom and I are going off of. And it continues to be great. It's now 11 years old, and I think holds up pretty well. There are a couple of problems with it. My main one is the whole Nolan trilogy. It was a bad idea to have Christian Bale do that voice when he had the Batman cowl on. That was the problem.
Yeah.
It
is a little distracting.
I'm the Batman. It's terrible. It's his way of doing it because he sounds kind of like, listen, I don't know about you guys, but I think there's a problem with my, like it just, it's bad.
Right.
And
oh, good for you. Good for you.
The only good thing they did with the Affleck thing was give him that modulator thing. They should have done that.
Yes, it was a good way to explain how that whole thing works.
Yeah, that would have worked, and it also sounded cool. They should have done that instead. It was stupid. And also, let me just say this. For some reason, Christopher Nolan thought that was a smart idea when Batman was around people who know he's Bruce Wayne and Batman at the same time. Spoiler. When he's around people like that who know who he is, he still does the voice.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to do it then.
No, it's almost like the
no one else is there. It's just the two of them in the room. So why?
It's almost like the costume makes him do that regardless of if the people around him know who he is.
Yeah. It's super obnoxious.
Does he ever talk normal when he's got the costume on?
No.
Does he ever speak like? Okay,
No.
well maybe there is the thing that it's like gripping his throat in such a way that it forces him to talk like this.
Maybe. That seems that seems bad. That seems like it would be the bad reason for that. But I don't like it, and it annoys me. But that movie's great and holds up, and that Joker performance is everything. It's very, very good. Very good. All right. We shall now recede into the darkness. No, we're going to do our emails. Or our news, rather. News.
How about the news?
Yeah. I have, my words are coming out wrong. They're falling out everywhere. Here's the
Spoiler,
first story.
Scott's words are coming out wrong.
Yeah, spoiler, everybody. It's going to get worse. Here's this one. There's a robot that wants to wear your face. And if you do this, if you let him wear your face, you'll get $130,000 for sharing your face.
Seems like an oddly unusual number.
I agree.
Oh, it's because it's why? Because it's pounds. It's 100,000 pounds, but then they translate it to
right
U.S. dollars. It's about $130,000. That makes sense.
Australian.
I thought it was like, we've decided your face, anybody's face, is worth $130,000.
You're right. It was very specific. The Australian amount is 188,000 Australian dollars, 852. So yeah. It says here, got a kind and friendly face. Don't mind the idea of your mechanized doppelganger stiffly trotting the planet. Stiffly? That's weird. Anyway,
robot that's going to do everything stiffly.
You could be somewhere in the range of 130 grand richer. A British engineer and manufacturing firm called Geomic. Geomic. All right. Robert Geomic. He was great on Benson. Wait, what was his real name?
Robert Guillaume?
Robert Guillaume, right? Okay.
Benson.
Checking my memory on that. Anyway, they put out a call for people interested in being the face of a new state-of-the-art humanoid being developed by an unnamed company. Well, that's always good. The company is searching for a kind and friendly face to be the literal face of a robot when it goes into production. This will entail a selected person's face being reproduced on potentially thousands of versions of the robots worldwide. What is this even about with all these robots? What are you doing?
Right.
They say the line's been in the works for 5 years and will result in a companion for seniors. This is how it starts. Let's see. They said the company behind the bot might look to you like it is privately funded and has gotten all the might look like you is privately funded. That's a terrible sentence.
Jamie says the company behind the bot that might look like you.
Oh, that might look like you is privately funded and has gotten investments from independent VCs and top fund companies based in Shanghai. Beyond that, the whole shebang's rather mysterious. The blog post doesn't share age or gender parameters, only asks people who want to license their face by submitting a photo for a chance to win that money. I assume they want somebody young and attractive, right?
I assume so. Somebody's got a pleasant face, but I don't think you'd want anything super threatening, too. Like, if you did a Hemsworth, it would just be like, oh, even robots are better looking than me.
Yeah. And don't do Luke. Don't do Luke.
It's got to be like Paul Giamatti? Would that make you feel better about yourself if your robot looked like Paul Giamatti?
Sure. I mean, I actually wonder what the seniors...
Steve Buscemi?
If you were really old, let's say you're 89 and just kind of barely getting around, and this is your helper robot, what would you... Yeah. And at that age, what would you want it to look like? You don't want some young hottie, right? Yeah. Necessarily. Yeah. You want a kindly, friendly face that looks like it wants to help you, not one that wants to sex you.
Oh, Rainbow Bright, that's very nice. I worry that this is like the face. What was that age app, right? Where people would put their face in and and it would age it, and then we all found out that it was going up to a Russian server or something.
Yeah, Chinese. I think.
I worry that this is like, all right, no, they're just being blatant. Send us your face and your name and your email address. We're totally only going to use it for this robot thing.
Yeah, who's making it? Oh, a mystery company in China. We can't tell you though.
Yeah,
something about this
Tovarish
is weird.
Industries in Ukraine.
I hated that app because A, it made me look horrible.
Yeah.
And B, if you used it on old people, it made them look like space rocks.
That's right.
And C, it just was fishy, man. Just too good at doing
that was the thing. Finding out that it was, that it was.
It wasn't Russian though,
server.
Right? Wasn't it Chinese? I think it was Chinese.
Was it Chinese server? Okay.
Yeah, but it's the same. They're kind of the big bad right now. Tupac Shakur back in the news.
Why don't we just use Arnold Schwarzenegger's face like Skynet used?
Oh yeah, just dupe that around.
Yeah, exactly.
You want me to change your adult diaper? You made the poopy.
I'm going to submit my face to this company. They're going to give me $100,000.
He's a little short on cash. Arnold is. He needs
submit your face if you want to live.
Yeah. He's always out of money, that guy. I actually really like how he looks in that new Terminator. I hope.
Yeah, he does look pretty badass.
I hope it's decent. I keep hearing it's like the third best Terminator movie.
That's what they're saying, that this is the sequel that Terminator and Terminator 2 deserved. So let's
see.
Kind of looking forward to it.
Currently performing at a level of what? Terminator Dark Fate, 67%. That sounds all right. That's not too bad.
No.
Yeah,
no.
I can deal with that. That Maleficent not doing great, 40%. No. The number one in the box office, but not a good score. Joker, high 60s. Zombieland, mid 60s. Boy, the highest rated film in theaters right now in the top 10 is Downton Abbey.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Rush out for that one.
I missed the last 3 seasons, but I did enjoy that show. Oh, and The Lighthouse, I hear, is super cool. I want to see The Lighthouse. That black and white thing with
oh, yeah.
My face looks like a foot plus the other guy.
Right.
What's his name? I can't think of his name.
Well, Pattinson is the one guy, and
then the other one is
Alexander Skarsgård. No, I don't know.
No, we know he's the Green Goblin. I can't think of his name.
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. Jeez. Yes. Or as Nicole would say, William Dafoe.
Dafoe.
Yeah, William Dafoe. William Dafoe. In his hot new role as a lighthouse. Okay, Tupac Shakur in the news. Remember him? He was a rapper, man.
Yes.
Yeah, famously did a really cool Mad Max riff with that California song. I love that. It's one of my favorite videos ever.
It is a really cool video, yes. Thunderdome in the background there.
By the way, there's a great mashup that Pomplamoose does of that song And what's the other song they mix it with? Oh, and Lord's what's that Lord song everyone?
Royals?
Royals, yes, Royals. So it's Royals
Really?
and California kind of mashed, but it's all Pomplamoose doing it. It's fan-freaking-tastic.
They rock, man. They really figured out that formula of how you do covers and how you take two songs, mash them up, and make something new out of them.
You're hearing yourself echo a little. It's my fault. I apologize.
A little bit. Did your earphone get a little too close to the?
No, it's a memory thing, and it's fiddling with my audio codec. Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna find this song real quick. I have to play a little bit, okay?
Pops and Recline just put it in chat.
Oh, well, there it is.
Helps.
Yeah, I'll just do that. It's a YouTube, yeah. I'm not gonna play a ton of it because I'll get in trouble here.
Sure.
But we'll do a little bit here. Here we go.
Oh, no.
Okay, they're just hanging out in the trailer at the moment. No, wait, go back. Okay, here we go. This is great. That part's me making that sound.
I've never seen a diamond in the flesh.
This is the part. Oh, it's so good, dude.
That's really good.
It's my favorite track on that album. I love it. Love it.
It's good stuff.
All right. Moving on.
Anyway, go check out Pomplamoose, everybody. Well, we barely talked about Tupac.
Yeah, we'll talk about it more. He was arrested for meth possession in Tennessee. Now,
But how is that possible?
well, the truth is he's not supposed to be alive anymore. So when I saw this, I went, "What the frick?" Well, it turns out it's kind of a white dude whose name is Tupac Shakur.
Is that the name he was born with, or was that did he pay $50 in the courthouse and change his name to Tupac?
It doesn't
Shakur?
say, but I'm going to assume this 40-year-old white man may have been named this by his parents, but I'm trying to think if he's 40.
Damn it, I keep getting Tupac's mail. I'm a totally different Tupac Shakur.
It says, probably goes without saying, but this is not the famous gangster rapper who was gunned down in Las Vegas in 1996, although conspiracy theories question whether or not the Death Row record star really ever died. Started spreading almost as soon as he took his final breath. Even so, this case involves a 40-year-old white man who happens to share that dude's name. Even their middle initials are identical, according to a news release from the Johnson City Police Department. While responding to the report of a person with warrants from another county on Saturday, officers said they spotted Tupac's car. The car was pulled over as they spotted it. The investigators found it a second time. Shakur was sitting in the passenger seat. They tried to arrest him, but he snatched away and put his hand in his waistband. He pulled out a knife. Police said Shakur tried to turn toward the officers with his weapon, but they almost immediately tackled him. So everybody's okay. Nobody got hurt, but it turns out dude had a bunch of meth baggies on him and syringes in his pants where he keeps his weed. All right, moving on. Did I lose you, Brian? Are you there? I think I lost Brian. Brian is frozen. Do you guys see that? Look at his face. Look at his face. Brian's not moving. Speak to us, Brian. We know you're there. Okay. That must be him because on both Skype and Discord, he has gone poop ski. But I still see everyone and I hear you guys and everything's fine here. So I think he may have lost something. Let's check our texts for more information. Oh, it appears the internet went down here. That's what I figured. He froze on all the things here. All right, hang in there, guys. We're figuring it out. Don't know what happened. His internet done took a dump. Trump's wall kill. Oh yeah, we even talked about the wall Brian doesn't know he has. They're getting a wall on the southern border to keep out all those new Mexicans. The thing is so stupid. I did like that. Who is it? Senator Leahy or somebody made a map, and they markered off New Mexico so that it connected to all of Mexico, and then scratched out the new so that now Colorado could have its border and have it work. Keep out all those new-ish Mexicans. All right, we're trying Brian again. We'll see what we get here. He's resetting his modem. Yeah, we should all get walls. How come only these guys get walls now? I want a wall. I mean, who wouldn't want a wall, right? I'm told they're beautiful and hard to get over. I mean, he may as well said Utah's getting a wall. We're right next to Colorado. Like, we're nestled right there. We have the exact same number of states between us and the actual border. In fact, Colorado even has less of one because the New Mexico border is actually kind of small compared to Texas and Arizona and Colorado, or California for that matter. So why wouldn't Utah get a wall? Because if you remove Arizona, we got a big old border right there, right? If you just lift Arizona out and poop it over here. So the theory is either he thinks that New Mexico is part of Mexico, which I don't think is that crazy of an idea that he thinks that. I think he might think that New Mexico is just an extension of it, that it's like a, he probably thinks New York, even where he grew up, he thinks New York is there's some other older York somewhere here in the States, even though he doesn't know where the original York came from. Something like that. I mean, I'm just trying to think what the concept is, because if you're going to get up and say, we're building a beautiful border wall in Colorado, and then go on about it for 5 minutes, is what he did. I'm just trying to understand why you would do that. Why would you come up with that? He tweeted that he claimed to be joking. I mean, here's what I think probably he did. He probably just screwed up and said the wrong state, right? He probably meant Arizona, or he meant something else. And then didn't notice that he said it at the time, and then everyone made fun of him, and now the lie is to say that I was kidding. Why would you be kidding? Everybody was giving you a standing ovation for this thing you were talking about. I just don't understand it. No sign of Brian yet. Let me see if he's answering. Yeah, he's still offline. He's resetting his modem. I mean, he may have actually thought Colorado was on the border. It's a western state. It sounds like it's, Colorado. It's where the Cowboys go, right? So that's possible. Wait, someone earlier said I'm being ignorant? How am I being ignorant? You'll have to explain that one to me. Brian, is that you? No, he's not here yet. Does the Rio Grande go all the way to Utah? No, but, well, I don't know. We have, in downtown Salt Lake City, we have a Rio Grande station, like a train station. But I think it's just, like, used for tourists and stuff now. Like, it's like a place where you have, like, events and things. Something like that. Okay, Brian says he believes this stuff's coming back up. Let's see if we can't get him back in. Oh, you're back. Oh, yeah, you're fine. All right.
Waiting for Discord.
There you go.
Oh, hold on. I don't have this audio muted too. Or no, you have your audio muted on Skype.
I do? Or I should. So should you, though. I'm ringing you on Discord.
I can't hear you on.
Oh, hold on.
think we both have Skype muted. But Discord is still freaking out. I'm going to quit and relaunch Discord because it's...
How am I hearing Brian at all? I shouldn't be hearing him at all. Yeah, how am I hearing him?
There we go.
Hello.
Yeah, Discord won't... Discord doesn't do its... Oh, there we go. Yeah, okay. I muted you in Skype, and then all of a sudden I didn't hear him. Like, oh crap, was he in Skype? I was hearing.
Yeah, you should have.
No,
hearing,
Discord.
Yeah.
When Discord goes down, it doesn't come up like it should normally come up, right? It just goes spinning, even though everything else came back up. I don't know what the deal was.
That is weird.
We had big snow last night.
Ah, big snow.
Big snow, but that was last night, and it stopped snowing. Now it's sunny and stuff is melting. So.
Did any of it stick? We're back, everyone at home. Did the snow stick that you had last night, or it's all gone now? Going away?
Oh no, it's we still have a couple inches on the ground.
Jeez,
it's a decent amount. Yeah.
That thing going west or east? Do you know?
Don't know. I didn't ask. Didn't ask it.
Do not.
Where are you going? Are you on your way somewhere? Where are you going?
I had this lovely chat with the chat room while you were fixing your router and stuff.
Sure.
We haven't been able to talk about that awesome. I hear you're getting a wall on the Colorado border.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah.
Our great Colorado wall. I can't wait to see. We got to keep those new Mexicans out as we're keeping all the old Mexicans out, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know what it is, but man, congratulations. Yeah. Well done.
Well, didn't he do a tweet this morning saying, kiddingly, I said that
he
Colorado
wasn't kidding. I heard the audio. He wasn't kidding.
Oh, I know.
He said it wrong. He said it wrong. Now, he probably just meant a different state. I understand that. Right. You know, there's no way he really thought they were building one there.
No, but getting Colorado wrong makes you look like an idiot.
Just say I misspoke.
Saying that you're kidding about it makes us think that you think we're all idiots.
Yeah. Just say I misspoke. I meant Arizona. Because that's what you did.
Exactly.
That's annoying, dude.
Colorado's getting a beautiful wall.
Then people, you know what makes me more bugged? What bugged me less was him making a mistake, and more that there are people who got up and gave him a standing O for that. For talking about Colorado's wall. We're building a beautiful wall in Colorado, and all these people go.
Right, exactly. We don't listen to what you say. We just clap when we hear you make noise out of your mouth hole.
That's basically it. Grosses me out. All right. Hey, we're going to take a break because now that's all that we have for.
Sure. Now I've got to figure out. Okay, here we go. Yes, I had to find the music too.
Oh, good. Well, Brian has found his music. He's going to tell us what it is, and we'll be right back with Wendy after this. Brian, what do you have?
Well, I'm still going to stall for a second because normally during the last article before the music, I'm able to pull up my notes about the musician of who I'm going to be speaking. But in this case, it's coming up, and it's coming up in about 10 seconds, and I'll be able to talk about this band called Planet of Rhythm from Pacific Palisades, California, and their brand new album, Damaged Goods. These guys, they're really good, and they've got kind of a good bluesy rock feel to them. Foot stomping music for general rocking out. Nice. Again, from Pacific Palisades, California, here are Planet of Rhythm and the song Your Possession.
All right, here it is. We'll be back in a minute. Stay tuned.
I've never seen that before.
Whoops, wrong one. All right, we'll be back in just a second. Stay tuned.
That slinger can't help you now. I'll take you to Atlanta, and you'll give me the cure. And if you don't, I'll give you the horror show.
I've never seen that before.
This is the morning stream. Bonsai!
All right, we're back, everybody. Welcome back to the program.
Back to the program.
Jawohl. Let's see if this doesn't screw up with Wendy getting added. I think it'll be okay.
Okay. All right.
As far as I know, we're all right.
Because I'm all discombobulated.
Well, that's what tech things do, you know?
Yes,
They
discombobulate.
mess us up, and we are forced to reconsider our position on various issues.
Okay.
Oh, hi. Is this Wendy?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Okay.
Here's your intro.
Something wrong, Batman? Has anybody seen Wendy?
Barnacles in a wad.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, I got a question for you. Are you getting the brunt of the winter weather yet, or are you guys still fine? Everything's fine? No big deal?
I mean, it's colder than it's fun, but it's like, what is it today? 50 something?
You're just like here then. It's just like home. It's like Utah.
Yeah, honestly, we have such similar weather. It freaks me out. Like, I'll see it. I'll be working with a client in Utah and it's snowing here. That weird little quick early storm, I guess, the 4 feet you got in Colorado. Sorry about that. But anyway, so very similar. It's a little bit weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
But I think it's going to break ranks when I get to the negative 40s,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is there's a certain point where you guys go full cryogenic deep freeze and we don't. Yeah. I look forward to it just to hear how it is. Anyway, hey, check it out, everybody. It's my sister Wendy. She is a therapist, helps people with real problems all the time, comes on this show and helps us with those that we sometimes give her, sometimes in the form of emails or calls or whatever. But today we are going full-blown topic, and it couldn't be, I think, better timing, because we are in the thick of the ultimate time of outrage culture. Yeah. And why we seem to be sort of addicted to it, or why we can't just let certain things go. Certainly, we live in a much more connected time, and social media and other stuff make it so you just can't avoid this stuff. Everybody's mad at something. It doesn't matter what you say, someone's going to be pissed. And they like to share their outrage with everybody else. And we call that outrage culture, probably appropriately so. I don't know. I mean, it's as good a term as any. Usually don't like terms like, what's with the cancel culture? Or I don't understand the bear. Like, I usually don't like the way people throw words around as if they own them. But we'll call this one outrage culture for the purposes we have today. So Wendy, why do we do it? Why and should we be doing it? Is it a normal thing for people to do? Or if not, how do we stop being so outraged about every little thing?
Okay, well, let's start with this. This is from Slate in 2014. They had written this, and I think it's a nice little way to sort of, and it's very dated with the news that contains. Makes me laugh because 2014 seems like 200 years ago. But it's a great definition, or kind of setting the stage for this. So, okay, it says when something outrageous happens, when a posh London block installs anti-homeless spikes, or when Khloe Kardashian wears a Native American headdress, or for that matter, when we read the horrifying details in the Senate's torture report. Do you guys remember the torture report?
Yeah, and those are things, sure.
Senate's torture report. It's easy to anticipate the cycle that follows. Anger, sarcasm, recrimination, piling on, defenses and counterattacks, anger at the anger, disdain for the outrage, sometimes an apology, and on to the next. Twitter and Facebook make it easier than ever to participate from home. And the same cycle occurs regardless of the gravity of the offense, which can make each outrage feel forgettable, replaceable. The bottomlessness of our rage has a numbing effect.
Yeah. And that was 2014.
Yeah.
Like, the world's never been free of things to be mad about, but I feel like we got a bit of a crescendo going on at the moment, and probably hasn't. We're probably not at the ceiling yet, or whatever that is. But yeah,
right. Well, so one way to think about it, and this is, I've been thinking about, why in the world has this been created? So there's always been stuff, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know, maybe like the town crier came in and said a thing and everyone's like, wah! But it would be their outrage, yeah. And I mean, think of pitch and forking. That's not right.
Pitchforking.
Is that where Dolly Parton grew up?
Pitch and forking.
Pitchforking, whatever. Like the mob gathers and they got their stuff and they're gonna go. Right. I mean, this is old now. Mm-hmm. So it's a human response to information, right? So I hear something, it doesn't sit right with me. My anger is sort of the energy that makes me want to do something about it. It's actually like really crucial part of human survival. It's one of the reasons we're winning as far as it goes, right? Because we have this biological response to something that's not okay and not right. And anger is a form of energy. So we then rally, all of our synapses and cells, and we go and we do something about it, right? Mm-hmm. But we have something that's happened recently that's really different from all the other times historically. And let's be clear, not that people handled their outrage in a good way historically, but what happens now is fundamentally different in the sense of quantity and timing. So let me give you an example. So when we just had the written word to read about someone's opinion, you think about how a paper is written. When was the last time you held a piece of paper that had a cogent, logical, reasoned out argument for anything, right? So you used to, if you wanted to read an opinion, and even, the news, even though it's, its form by nature is short, and sometimes, what bleeds leads kind of garbage. But that's, there's always been some long form of journalism where there's, more in-depth looks at things. And what happens when we are physically reading something, we're getting, like the reason parts of our brain are getting, juiced up. So by very nature of reading it, we can still become upset, right? We can still not agree or not like it, but we've engaged our brain on a rational level because that's the nature of writing. And that's the nature of reading a paragraph that's written well, right?
Right.
So we're just in a different, think of it as like you're just in a different state of mind a little bit when you are reading the written word. So we've had that for a long, long, long time. And the thing that we have now is we have a screen-based information dissemination system. And take a lecture. I don't know when the last time you guys watched a lecture of a teacher doing nothing but standing there and lecturing.
Does a TED Talk count?
Yeah.
Nope.
They're too bite-sized, right?
It doesn't.
They're too small.
There's a reason, because it's 20 minutes. There's stuff to look at behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
There's a whole crowd to think about. I'm talking like no entertainment value at all.
Okay.
So our brains are like we're still doing the visual cue, but we're engaging our thinking and our reasoning. And we can find that quite boring. And so you take anything now, even if it's educational, they have to have jump cuts, right? You got to change positions. You got to be funny. You got to make a funny sound. You got to have music. Everything is just this or that. There's a reason, because that format, the form of a screen, is emotion, not rational. So you can create any emotion you want. You can take all of my pictures and my friends' pictures from junior high, and you put them in the right music, and you do some, zooming in and zooming out. It's going to seem like the best time of everyone's life.
Fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah. Right? Because it's emotion based. And so screens, primarily, that's their function, is to do an emotion based situation. So right off the bat, first of all, our mass sort of number wise, how much exposure are we getting that's not screen form to rational thought? It's very little anymore, right?
Yeah, I'm guessing it's like a 90 percentile to 10 somewhere.
Yeah,
like
it's
for a lot of people.
Gone significantly down. Yeah. And there's still many self-righteous folks who are like, well, I read the long form, blah, blah. Right, great. They're less outraged maybe. I don't know. But so if you think about what's happening, it's a constant priming for emotion, right? It's hitting the emotion, not reason. So when you say, why can't we have a reasonable discussion about this? Automatically, you're already using a medium that is excluding rationality a little bit and hyper focused on emotion. And we don't know it. We're not thinking like that. We're thinking very little, actually. So when you feel like someone's insane and they're not thinking, they got to think this through. There's part of there is a situation that is a little bit out of everyone's hands when screens are so dominant as the medium, right? Okay, so you take all of that and you go, well, crap. What are we supposed to do with this? Part
of the problem is that everybody, the screens are there and it's short headlines and it's easy to just get tipped off by a headline that just set you off because it was designed to do that, and it's you don't have to really think about it. That's all part of it, but is part of it that we also all have immediate ways for every single person to have an immediate voice publicly. And that didn't used to be true at all. Like, you could be outraged by a story in the New York Times, and it would just be this slow boil of maybe it came up in a later follow-up article that people were angry about it, or we regret the air, or whatever. Like, you would have this slow, very, very small sort of thing happen. But now, even right now, you could say something on this show that's like super outrageous just to test it, and then immediately we would have public posts in the chat room. We would then have people on Twitter. We would then have people on Facebook. We would have people in the Discord. We have people everywhere who would all suddenly have a voice about the thing they're mad at. Is that part of it?
Yes. So, and that leads to, it's the same basic concept, right? Which is immediate ability to respond is an emotional response, not a rational response. Now, the person will say all day they're being rational. All day long, they'll say, well, I've already thought this through and blah, blah, blah. But the interchange between multiple screens, they're not actually talking to me. So, Scott, if you did that, if you, in the process of talking to me, were like, that is outrageous, you now require certain human interaction abilities to navigate that. But if we're talking and you say nothing and then you're just tweeting right then, like, she's an idiot, listen to what you say, like, that's at least only one step removed, but it's overhearing. Now, here's a perfect example. When you are like, I don't know, maybe like hate cats. I don't know. I can't think of anything. Look, I'm already ruining people's lives. Okay. Right. So say you hate cats and you are in your car listening to a news program about something to do with cats, and it drives you nuts that all this money is being wasted on saving cats or something. It's triggering you specifically. Remember that time that cat scratched you in the face? Okay, there's a reason you hate cats. It's probably deeply rooted in your life. Maybe you're not even aware of it, but it triggers you particularly because cats is the topic. You take 9 other people in the room, they'd be like, cats, okay, whatever. So we all have our own reason, our own bias, our own baggage, but then we immediately have the ability to then voice that. And here's where we get into sort of the individual psychology of this. It feels amazing to have an immediate voice. It's one of the most powerful things about someone healing from anything is having a voice. Because usually when we're victimized by something, we've lost our voice or our power. So this represents giving everybody a big shot of power, even though it may not fully help them heal, but it's a very quick form of it, right? Like, I can say this on Twitter and 100 people are gonna like it. And then, and you can see where this sort of, it's kind of an addictive quality comes in, is that first of all, I get a bunch of chemicals because of the outrage, the anger itself. It's like having an adrenaline boost, right? And then I get my voice and I can say these things. And then I can get my social interaction met because we're all engaging, and it's distracting me from anything else in my life. And it feels good, almost like it's a positive versus the negative part of feeling angry, right? And so why wouldn't you do this? Why wouldn't you engage in this? But that last line of that quote, I think, is really true. Eventually we are numb. It's kind of like the crying wolf situation, right? Like, if you're outraged about everything, then no one's going to...
You're outraged about nothing.
Yeah. Then you're outraged about nothing. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's where you get to this, like, a bunch of human needs are met in strange ways and in quick ways, in ways that have never existed before. And the resulting stuff looks like just a bunch of really mad people. And I feel like sometimes I see this on the road, or in, out in public. There's just like, and not to say it's all just because of outrage culture, but there's a bit of just like, it carries over into your life. And not that everyone has to walk around cheering happy, but if I ask someone, like, tell me about your news habit, and they're like, oh, I don't listen or watch to any. I'm like, that's why you seem okay.
Yeah.
Like, it messes with you a little bit in all of your life because it is so consuming. Anger is the most consuming sort of emotion we can have a lot of times, right?
I assume there's like studies about road rage and things, because that seems like an example of this where, everyone thinks the internet is exclusive to this whole anonymity problem or keyboard warrior when you're not, have to show your face sort of thing. But I feel like people do this in cars.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like they feel like...
But there's also a little anonymity in cars, too.
Yes,
like driving up on somebody's bumper they're seeing a Ford Explorer on their back bumper. They're not seeing.
Yeah, that's
Mike
exactly what I'm
Jones
saying. They know there's a dude
of
there.
23 Main Street.
Yeah, there's a dude there. They may even know them. They just don't know they know them because they can't quite see them. And so that anonymity is there as well. And it's funny because every time I have like a harsh online experience, it feels like road rage.
Yeah.
Like that same exact sort of thing of like, who are you to cut me off, or who are you to say that thing, or who are you to whatever, and I have every right to be angry, and this isn't my fault. It can't possibly be my fault, you know?
Right.
All those emotions are the same. So I assume we're tapping into the same, I don't know.
We are. I mean, if the takeaway is we're all animals, and we get along with the animals that we need for survival. And when we don't need a fellow animal for survival, it's okay for us to make them the enemy. And sometimes that survival requires someone to be our enemy. And so we tend to, in the modern era, we find an enemy. And I think it's kind of really old and built in us. And so we'll get to solutions and ideas about this, but there's another point I want to make.
All right.
That is amazing. Okay, so in 1975, these two researchers did this amazing thing, political science professors. So this is 4 decades ago.
Yep.
They went around and interviewed people and asked them what their opinion was on the Public Affairs Act of 1975. And should it be repealed? What is their opinion? And everyone had an opinion. So about a third of the respondents said they knew one way or the other it was good or bad. Just really lit into it and what they thought. And then a third said they knew enough about it to have an opinion, but like they weren't totally familiar. So you're talking about almost 100% of these people had an opinion about this thing. Mm-hmm. Here's the crazy thing. There's no such thing as the Public Affairs Act of 1975.
I wondered if that's where this was going. Okay.
Yeah.
So they termed it pseudo opinions, right? So the idea is that you think you know something about something. And this is a made up thing. Didn't even exist. But the pressure to you're interviewed, you're supposed to know, right? I think that's why people always say, I got to watch the news because I don't want to be uninformed. Well, we're all uninformed and we're all biased and we're all, but there's a very strong pull to say you know something when you actually do not, right? So that's an example of, obviously it was completely made up. And so I think there's a factor there with knowing. So I had this experience very recently. I talked to an older woman. She lives in my neighborhood. She's walking her dogs. And we get chatting, and I can't figure her out. She's older, retired. She's just kind of nice, but like she starts saying some strange things. So you're trying to figure somebody out. That's what we do as humans. We need to know how to put you in a box or help me understand who I'm interacting with. Anyway, so as we get chatting, she starts to tell me about her neighbors, and she's saying she has these 2 neighbors that are amazing. She loves them. What'd she say? They're really smart. They know lots of things. And then I have these other 3 neighbors that are just really, really nice to me, and they help me, and they're nice, but they are so uneducated. And I'm like, okay, back it up. No one in my neighborhood is uneducated. That's not a thing.
Right.
Or I feel like all of Minnesota, to be honest. Anyway, so I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, it's unbelievable. They think they know things. They don't. They don't know anything about, I can't even pronounce it. Antifa.
Antifa. Yeah.
Antifa.
Gosh,
I would say wrong.
You're kidding. Politically opposed minds all think each other doesn't know what they're talking about. Weird.
Yes. So anyway, so she starts saying this, and she's like, of course, because they don't watch Fox News, they wouldn't know about it. And I said, oh, what news do they watch? She's like, I don't know, must be MSNBC. And I said, oh, really? Do you know that? And I'm trying to be super chill at this point. I'm going to figure out, okay. Anyway, so she says this, she goes, they know nothing. They don't know what's really going on. And I just said, oh, do you think maybe they think that about you too? And she had this look like, oh, that's possible. I mean, it was
really?
to her credit.
Like more of a realization. She wasn't defensive about it. Okay.
No, no idea that that's possibly what they were thinking. She just was feeling bad that they were so dumb.
Wow.
Because they don't know what Hannity has to say. Anyway, so she's going on and on about how she knows everything and no one else knows anything. And then I turned it to like, well, tell me about the kind of stuff they do for you. Are they awful people? And she's like, no, actually, when I hurt my leg, they help me do this and they take my garbage in. And she went on and on about what amazing neighbors they are, but how sad for them that they are not afraid of Antifa or whatever.
Yeah.
Uninformed. So, okay. So my point telling that story is I did nothing. I just pointed out this tiny little thing. And to her credit, she went, oh, I hadn't thought of that. Most of the time, what we do though, this is very rare for someone to go, oh, that's a thought, is to clamp it down. So
double down. Yeah.
So we have lots of interesting research on sort of narrow-mindedness, and we think it's a particular thing. But what happens with this sort of thing is our minds are actually the most narrow when we're outraged, right? So if we're in a perpetual state of outrage, we're not going to learn anything new. It's not a brain state for learning or accumulating insight. It's that. So when we say double down, people aren't consciously going, I'm going to double down now. It is so intuitive and inherent in this self-protective mode. It's the opposite of curious. It's the opposite of open. It's the opposite of all the things they might claim there. So she's claiming she's so smart and so open, but as soon as I pointed out, it's like, well, I mean, she did okay, but you could tell still, I mean, I could have knocked her over. It was like, whoa.
Well, part of it was you're having a human interaction too, like you were talking about earlier. I think if this was you talking to her via text or on Twitter or something, it wouldn't have gone that way. There's no way.
Right.
Yeah. And that's
right.
Yeah.
And we bonded over the dogs, right? Like there's this, hey, we already have a commonality. We love this dog. It's so cute. And let's talk about how great your dog is. And then we bonded over the goodness of our neighbors, and because we're in the same neighborhood. And so, we had all sorts of connections. So then maybe she was willing to hear a little more. And I think that's true. But my point in bringing her up anyway is also this idea that we all have our blind spots. So we can, and here's what's tricky, is we have more information now than we've ever had, or at least access to it, right? So we can look at what happened in our own history as a country or as a people or the world and go, what in the world were we doing? There were such horrible things that happened, and just get outraged about things in the past. And a lot of it is outrage worthy, right?
Slavery,
there will
whatever.
Come a day,
sure. Yeah.
There will come a day where our great-great-grandchildren will absolutely be horrified that we did this or that, right? I mean, I think one is healthcare. I think they're going to be like, what monsters those people were. Yeah. Anyway, so you could take, but the nature of a blind spot is you can't see it. And so generationally we have a blind spot, right? And individually we all have blind spots. So these are all ways to sort of, I guess, frame this of like, all right, this comes naturally, it's biological, but we have tools now to have it be an endless stream of outrage. And the more we do it, the more narrow our minds get. And the more addictive this feeling actually is. But I really like that idea that it is actually numbing. So if you think about it, both of you, have you had this experience where you got a little bit of outrage and you experience numbness?
Yeah, a little bit. Usually it's because I get to the end of my rope. It's like, oh, I can't do another day of that. Like it's not gonna end, and I can't control it, even though I'm doing things that I think does control whatever it is I'm mad about. So you just get this feeling of like, okay.
Is it more numbness or just kind of relenting to say, oh, okay, this is just the way it's going to be. Fine, let's move on, kind of thing.
Well, and it can depend, right? Like if you're really raging, I would assume it would actually get to it would be a physical numbness.
Right.
Yeah.
You're think about it. You're living your life, and you're activating your fight, flight, or whatever response all day for no reason, and there's no outcome. It's not like you go wrestle a tiger and there's a completion, like I did it. Whoa,
Right.
You're just perpetually exposing yourself to fight, and eventually you're just gonna kind of run through your endocrine system and not get out of bed. I mean, there's a biological thing.
For better or for worse, I think I give up long before that now. I think that's probably.
I definitely give up. No, I give up more sooner now than I ever do on stuff like that. Like I just don't care anymore. I mean, I do, but I don't know. Like you always hear about people have less poops to give. I definitely have less poops to give the older I get.
Right.
And like I just can't like I would engage. Let's say 10 years ago, I would engage at a level that I just won't now. I just won't do it now because it's just stupid. I know where it goes. I know where it heads, and there's maybe that numbness, or maybe that's just experience. I don't know what that is, but yeah, I feel like we're. Here's what's funny, because you can say, well, this all leads to numbness, and then somebody will say, that's what they want you to do, because if you're numb, you can't react and you won't be able to do the thing. And then you go, okay, we got to be extra vigilant because they're trying to get me to be numb. And then you get numb on that. And then the same, this weird circle starts to happen. Everyone gets conspiratorial about it. And I hate that. I'm numb to that too.
Yeah, there's numb to all the things.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So let's take something that someone is doing right this minute. Okay. So politics is politics, right? Mm-hmm. So let me give you 2 quick examples. If you like Bernie Sanders, then you love the idea of Medicare for all. If you like Joe Biden, then you don't think Medicare for all is the answer. So here's the question. Did you like Medicare for all first? Or you don't like Medicare for all? Or did you like the guys first? Or, if you really drill down, and most people don't ever really stop and think about what's happening, that's the thing. So they researched Republicans in 2014. I mean, here's the thing. We have stats and data, people. You can't hide. Anyway, 2014, 22% of Republicans thought Russia was an ally or even friendly. And any guesses what 2018 brings with that same question?
Probably a lot of mistrust and dislike.
No, Republicans.
Oh, from Republicans. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
God, I would still think there would be some question about that, but less on the Republican side than on the Democrat side.
So 40% of Republicans now see Russia as an ally.
Okay.
So
Wow.
how does
what
that
was the
happen?
What was the number in 2014?
22.
22. Wow. So it's gone. So more people are trusting.
Right. So any ideas why?
I don't know. Hello?
Why that would be. Where have you guys been?
Is it just blind following of Commander in Cheeto?
Is it because?
Yeah. 100%.
Okay.
100%. So, I mean, maybe, I don't know, they watched The Americans and got into Russia. I have no idea. I don't know how you'd explain it otherwise. But what it is that we're groups, we herd, we're tribes, we do whatever, and all this stuff has influences on us. But here's what's crazy is that when you really get someone alone. So Scott, your point, so I was trying to give 2 examples on both sides, right? Your point of like face to face is really important. And we have all these amazing tools that in theory make everything easier and quicker, and democracy in theory should be thriving because of these tools. But what we found is those tools might be part of why we feel so disconnected, might be adding to that, and especially the outrage parts of things. But we still have this amazing power when we're face to face. So there are some researchers, let's see, they gathered 500 people. Have you guys heard about this? It's called American One Room.
No.
And it's a long weekend or even a whole week, I can't remember. But they had, they took it from registered voters from everything. You name it. If they voted that way,
Like
they
across,
think that way.
Okay.
Yeah, across the back.
Across party lines and stuff. Okay.
And then they have them all together for this weekend, American One Room, and they say what they're thinking. They get talking. I mean, it's amazing. There's a couple different ones happening like this, but this one's kind of the big one. And what happens is people like each other at the end. They feel like they understood where the other person was coming from. I mean, all this stuff that happens when you're talking to someone where there's some connection, because we're humans or we're all Americans or we all love dogs, whatever our sort of foundation stuff is that connects us. And then we can have these conversations where we do see it differently and people can express their concerns. And it does what it's always done, which it brings everyone a little further towards the middle.
Well, then
right?
that goes to my theory then of it's all these conveniences for communicating with other people give us one half of the equation, which is the express my feelings openly half of the equation.
Right.
It doesn't include the other reciprocal part that you're talking about, the human-to-human interaction, the face-to-face stuff. And because it doesn't do that, but because it's so easy, we have hundreds of opportunities to do it in a day or more, but none of that required back end.
Right.
So it's like I don't know. It's like we're getting. It's like you're getting the pizza without the flavor. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not the same for what we need. But we're just overdoing it on the front end and getting none of that back end. And when the back end does happen, it's like it feels unique. Like, oh, I had to talk to this lady at the store. She hates this, and I love that. But by the end, we were like friends. In fact, we're supposed to go to lunch next week because her daughter's in the same class. You know, like all that stuff starts to happen, and you start to see it as an outlier when really that should just be the norm. But you don't. But you don't.
We see the label
norm.
first, basically. We see the MAGA hat, and we immediately say, okay, well, that person and I are not going to have anything in common. Write them off, and that's it. As opposed to, oh, you've got 12 items or less. I've got 12 items or less. Awesome. We have something in common.
We're both buying quinoa.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And here's the thing. I think we have an arrogance as Americans that it's not going to serve us people. And that is as if democracy is a given, as if the voting and the freedom and all the things, that's just who we are. And we help the rest of the world have it. There's something to be said for the fact that this idea, they call it, what do they call it? Deliberative polling. This idea of actually bringing people together, having them have discussions, and then polling them, rather than how we often hear of polls. It's you find a Democrat, a Republican, an independent. They claim that's what they are. Then they say the thing they think, and then that's what we all go with. And we think, dang, I'm not any of these people, right?
Yeah.
So this deliberative polling has happened 108 times in 28 different countries since 1994 in order to have increase, healthy political dialogue. We're Northern Ireland, everyone, just read about that. Uganda, Bulgaria, we're not the first ones to have this challenge, and we're not going to be the last. But I feel like we're hitting a point that, it's starting to be clear that something maybe needs to be done. So this leads to some ideas. One, and this is maybe not a non-starter, but just some humility, right? Like to admit. So this happened the other day.
Yes.
Someone was talking about something and someone said, oh, that's biased. And my 10-year-old said, everyone has a bias. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to cheer, right? To just recognize that what
And
I am
acknowledge.
saying is 100% biased because of my life experience, because of who I am, because the color of my skin, how I've walked through the world, all the privileges I've had, etc. I have a bias towards this thing, right? And that's huge. So take your own, so everyone individually listening, you might be thinking, yeah, well, you're not right about this thing. Well, okay. So just take a little humility and a moment and step back and just say, okay, I may not know everything. I may think I'm talking about the Public Something Act of 1975 that doesn't exist.
Right.
And ask yourself, is it a big deal that I must be right? And if you've heard other people in your life say, yeah, you always have to be right, maybe just take a minute and listen. We're really bad at this. We're really bad at hearing feedback unless we're a little bit humble. And so that's the doubling down. That's the attacking and criticizing and bullying someone else. But if we really take a minute and figure out what our own stuff is, it kind of goes back to what I always talk about is take your own garbage out. But just what is yours? What keeps you stuck in the way you think or the way you treat another person who doesn't think like you? And then another step might be like, okay, so there's some humility, but another step might be actively pursuing a connection and conversation with someone else. They don't have to be all that different from you, but somewhat different from you. There's just always opportunities. And, you can just do that at the grocery store. You can do that on the train. You can, and even online you can do it, obviously, but you're higher risk of having it backfire when you really can't see someone face to face. So those are at least two ideas.
There you go. Take that, world of rage craft.
And stop trusting Russia, people.
Yeah, quit trusting Russia. Don't trust China either. And build a bunker. Keep all your guns. And be a prepper. Actually, it's so funny. I can't really make fun of preppers. We have a year's worth of food storage here at the house, and it's kind of preppy.
Prepper.
If you think about it.
We do too, but it's because we're lazy, not because we're expecting doomsday.
Yeah. I have a lot of
You just
ramen
don't
here.
clean out the fridge.
Yeah,
When-
you just have a pantry.
Wendy,
that we
before
don't
you go,
check much.
you know how at our house growing up we had ramen all the time. It was always around, right? Because it was the closest thing the Koreans could get to their homeland or whatever.
And they cost 11 cents each.
And they were cheap.
That's more like
Did you know that every package of I talked about this on the show earlier, but I haven't told you this. Every package of ramen is 2 servings. You're supposed to split the brick in half and put one in a bowl and cook it and put half the seasoning on it. It says it on every bag. 2 servings.
Is that true?
Yes. I know. I freaked out. I couldn't believe it because I've never had half a bag of ramen in my life.
Right, exactly.
So when my 14-year-old has 3 packages, he's having 6 servings. Okay.
Yes, he's
Good to know.
also having like I don't know what the equivalent in sodium is,
A
but it's
sodium heart attack.
It's like
nightmare.
drinking
I
right
think
from
it
the
was-
Salt Lake.
I was trying to remember, like, there was some junk food thing that was also, multiple servings. I think it was Snickers bars that really, when you get like a regular sized Snickers bar, that's supposed to be 2 servings.
Oh, really? Like a normal, like an uncut,
A
not
normal-
segmented.
So a mini is the 1 serving.
Right, exactly. Fun size is probably 1 serving.
We've all been doing it wrong then, because
Yes, exactly.
I never ate that as a half a serving. That's crazy. Or 2 servings of a thing. That's crazy.
I don't know
Anyway,
if it still is the case, but I remember that was the junk food example that I remembered as a young adult.
Well, Wendy, next time you get a bag of ramen out, notice. Just look on the back. It'll say, and you'll go, my whole life has been a lie. I didn't know this.
Right. How did you learn this? Did you just glance at it?
Somebody somewhere pointed it out to me, and I didn't believe them. I can't remember who told me this, but I ran upstairs, grabbed a bag, and sure enough, they all say 2 servings. So weird.
That's funny.
So weird to me. All right. Good stuff. Wendy, as always, a pleasure. Anything pimp worthy coming out of House Wendy this week?
No.
Oh.
There's no pimp worthiness coming out of my house.
Yeah. You got Halloween coming. You still got Halloween age kids, right? It's going to be fun.
Yeah, we do. In fact, I am not going to be. Are you going to have the show next Halloween?
We
You don't take Halloween off,
We
do you?
are, but if you're not going to be here, it's okay because it's a jam-packed day of other
Perfect.
things.
It's good.
So-
I will be. This is so terrible, everyone, but I'm going to be on a plane.
Oh, where are you going?
Ditching my children on Halloween. I'm going to meet some friends from Sweden in New York. So I have all these people. I'm like, I promise, come visit. It'll be so amazing. And I really mean it. Come. But they don't want to come to Minnesota. They only want to go to New York.
Yeah.
And they've never been to the States. And so it was the only time they could go because, Halloween's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
And so anyway.
We
I'm gonna be in New
usually
York.
that's us usually every year, Brian, because usually BlizzCon's the flight is on Halloween,
Mm-hmm.
so we're usually
Oh,
flying
really?
on that day anyway. But this year I'm not. Neither is Brian. So
Do they do special stuff on Halloween flights? Because I'm just hoping for
No.
candy corn.
No, as a matter of fact, they encourage you not to wear a costume on your flight.
yeah.
Oh, I believe that.
Although I do want to say the last time one of our flight attendants maybe had something on, like a
Yeah.
Harry Potter thing or something.
Something, yeah.
I don't remember. So
Let's not be
No,
too
that's the
scared.
part I'm kind of bummed about not going to BlizzCon this year is that, I'd be going to maybe Not Scary Farm or something for Halloween night, which was crazy cool last year with Tristan.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, Not
That's
Scary
awesome.
Farm is awesome. The way they do that
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, I will take some pictures. I'm going to go to the Greenwich Village Halloween Parade,
Ooh.
which, if you've read anything about it, it's the only live public Halloween parade at night.
Stoning. Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe stoning.
Yeah.
But can you imagine the creative energy that's gone
Yeah,
into those
no kidding.
costumes? So I'm excited.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I think all 4 of us are going to dress up like Greta Thunberg and go to the.
Oh yeah, do that. She's crazy. Cool. I like that. I like that girl. All right. Well, have fun doing that. Report back. Take lots of pictures. Put them on Instagram. You can find Wendy at Wendy Dunford on Instagram if you're looking for that. And have a fantastic week. We'll see you next time.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Bye
Bye.
now.
See ya.
Can't find her to
Bye.
hang up on her. There she is. Oops. Hold on. Okay, now she's gone. All right. That is today's show, everybody. We are done. A reminder that we do a Friday episode of the show. Tomorrow will be no different. It's happening for 3:30 Mountain Time right here at frogpants.tv. It'll be live, or you can get it on the podcast. We do it because of your support at our Patreon, patreon.com/TMS. Keep that up, and we'll keep that up. That's Friday at 3:30 Mountain Time. Frogpants.com/TMS.
Keep paying, we'll keep playing.
That's right. Pay to play.
That's right.
And we're like an
Pay us to
arcade.
play.
You put quarters in us, you can play us.
Dancing monkeys is what we are.
In more ways than one. Anyway, go check it out. Frogpants.com/TMS is our website. Brian, do you have a song to play on our way out of the door, please?
I have a song, Scott. So we get an email from Kevin Crazy in the chat room. Hey, Brian, I'll be turning that magical number of 42 on the 24th of October and thought I'd throw a song request out. Nothing specific this go around, so I'm looking for the cover master to find something I'll enjoy. Ideally, I'd like to hear a song related to the number 42 or something cosmic, centered around space travel, exploring the unknown, etc. Rock, either power, hard rock, prog rock, etc. is preferred, but no bluegrass. But of course, you get the final say. Thanks, Kevin, formerly known as Crazy in the Tadpool, but it's been a while.
Nice.
Okay, Kevin. All right, so something a little spacey. I looked at some level 42 covers and decided they weren't hard rock enough, not even really prog enough, but settled on this one. And this is cool. This is from a brand new album from Hidden Citizens called Reawakenings Volume 2. Hidden Citizens do a lot of covers in the style of like current movie trailer, slow but powerful ballady things that end with kind of a whisper or a little girl singing as the credits roll and coming this November, stuff like that. On this album, they do a cover of Moby's We Are All Made of Stars. And it starts out a little slow, but then it rocks by about halfway through. So I think you're going to love this. Here is Hidden Citizens with their cover of We Are All Made of Stars, featuring Tim. Could it really be Tim Halpert? Isn't Tim Halpert the guy from The Office? Oh, Halperin. Tim Halperin.
Oh, got it. All right.
Was getting cut off. I'm like, Jim Halpert.
Jim Halpert. Tim is the one on the British Office. Tim.
That's why I was confusing everything.
Yeah.
Tim and Jim. This is neither. It's Tim Halperin. Anyway, here is We Are All Made of Stars.
All right.
By Hidden Citizens.
We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Whoops, wrong one. Sorry. Here, see you tomorrow, everyone. Bye.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network.
Frog Pants Network.
Get more shows like this at frogpants.com.
Hey, what's this in the chat? Mr. Forthwell, Blizzard is out of the fire, apparently? What does that mean? Oh, the LA fire?
Blizzard.
They mean the actual fire, or are you guys making a metaphor?
I don't know. There's an LA. Oh, the LA fire that I didn't think they were in danger of that.
They shouldn't be. Anaheim usually is sort of not in that zone. So I'm not sure what he meant. Or maybe they meant because